Hey y'all, I need to know if you can hear me, like if I'm too loud. I need to know if whatever. My I'm using my mic today and I never use the mic, so I don't know if I'm too loud or whatever. Hi nephew. Stupid. But yeah, I need y'all to tell me if y'all can hear me right. I don't know. I did this setup completely different, but the Sarah Boone case, I've been following this case literally from jump. I told y'all that I was going to literally give y'all everything from start to finish with her. We watched her interrogation. Well, we watched the cops arrive to the scene. We watched the interrogation together. Um, and I told you I was going to cover the trial. So, I also told y'all they was going to push that bitch back. I told y'all they was going to push it back as far as they possibly can. Literally, I was waiting since Christmas for them to put the trial on. But guess what? 3 days ago, we got some footage of the trial. So, we gonna actually watch that. So, let's see here, buddy. So, like I said, we're gonna watch this here. I can't see what you say yet. No, I don't have AC on. Do it sound like that? You know your relatives is loud as hell. G and blasting music. I asked him to turn that shit down over and over again. I have the door open. I'm sure you can hear my laptop because it's loud. Like the fan on it is loud. And I got the mic all the way up on it. I didn't even realize that. I should have sat the mic over here. So that's what we gonna do. Do it sound better? If I could turn the beats down. Alright, do it sound better? But y'all, I'm excited about this case. Like, I'm mad excited because hopefully, because I did not watch none of this trial, like nothing. So hopefully, this hoe really get like everything. I didn't watch none of this. I have no idea what what's actually in this video. But shout out to Court TV because that's what we're reacting to. Because hopefully they got it cut down a good bit. But I'm going to start the video, y'all.
Sarah's home. The couple had a bit of a tumultuous past. Both had been arrested on domestic violence charges against one another, but they always seemed to get back together. On this night, the two were drinking. But what happened next is almost inexplicable. George got inside of a suitcase that was then zipped shut. Why and exactly how he got into that suitcase is not 100% clear. But what is clear is that
that flow dirty as hell. I don't understand why people be putting. Oh God.
At one point, he wanted to get out. He pleaded with Sarah to open the suitcase, but she refused. Instead, she turned on the video camera on her phone and started to record as George begged for his life. Still, she refused to unzip the suitcase. Then, the following morning, she eventually called 911. She said she and George were playing hide and seek and George ended up in the suitcase. When police responded, they found George dead. Sarah has been charged with second-degree murder, but now claims she was the victim and is claiming battered spouse syndrome. Tonight, we take a look at the entire cell phone video, the body cam footage, and the interrogation of Sarah Boone to try to figure out how George Torres died in a suitcase. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Great to have you with us. You know, through the years, we've covered lots of cases involving suitcases, lots of crimes. And usually it's the same story to a certain extent over and over again, and that is someone is murdered, they try to dispose of the body, and sometimes they'll dismember the body and put it into a suitcase or suitcases and get rid of them. And a lot of times we cover that story where someone is just going along and they find a suitcase and they open it up and there are body parts inside of it. And now all of a sudden we know we've got a murder investigation that started. Lots of stories, lots of cases like this. You've seen it. You've heard it a million times, probably for court TV viewers. The one that always comes to mind was a legendary case, a legendary trial out of New Jersey. Melanie McGuire was the defendant's name. She was a fertility nurse who ironically was having an affair with the fertility doctor at the office. Was married to a man named Bill. Bill disappeared. Then his remains were found in a series of suitcases down near the Potomac. And Melanie McGuire was the one who was tried and convicted of that murder. And I remember one piece of evidence in that case was they believed that she dismembered her husband in the bathroom in the home. And they went to the home and they didn't find anything in the shower. They were looking for DNA. And it was the cleanest shower in the world. Not a spot of anything. Had been bleached and cleaned so well that it was incriminating evidence against her that she had cleaned up the scene of this gruesome dismemberment. Melanie McGuire was convicted. Now, the story we're talking about tonight involving Sarah Boone and George Torres is a much different case.
I was about to say,
much different suitcase case. Here, the suitcase is not used to dispose of the victim. The suitcase is the instrument of death. The suitcase is what is used to commit this murder, according to prosecutors. We've never, ever seen a case like this. First time. And there's a lot of questions surrounding this, obviously, like how and why did George Torres end up in that suitcase? What was going on in that house?
Cut that hoe crazy. That's why. That's how. The ex-husband definitely talked about her being a drunk and how volatile their relationship was, and also how they would call the cops on each other all the time, how they would get arrested for abusing each other. So, yeah.
How did he end up in there? And you know, he can't tell us because he's dead. She has given many statements. But the part of this investigation that turned everything upside down Well, she had her story about what was happening that night. We're playing hide and seek, and she helped him get in.
I felt like from jump she rehearsed her statement. I feel like she literally practiced it over and over in her head before she called the cops to her home. Because when they would ask her a question, she would literally say the exact same thing the same exact way. When you're talking to someone about something this traumatic, they not gonna be able to, like, it was too rehearsed for me. Like, I literally verbatim remember exactly what she said because she said it too much. It was, we drank 2 bottles of wine. Or no, 1 bottle. She said it was 1, but there was 2 bottles found. We drank a bottle of wine. We did puzzles together. Then we were talking about the art, and then we played hide and seek, and he got in the suitcase to make me laugh. Like we made it a joke.
In the suitcase? Well, that's not how hide and seek works, first of all. It doesn't work that way. You close your eyes, someone hides, you gotta find them. You don't help them hide.
This is how
so from the beginning, that just sounded ridiculous. But she recorded him on her cell phone. She recorded video of him pleading for his life. And tonight, we're going to show you the whole video. Show you the whole thing that investigators got from her cell phone pretty quickly, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to warn you. We're going to show it to you, but this is not easy to watch because you know eventually this man dies inside that suitcase. But you'll hear his voice, you'll hear her voice as she's talking to him. And she sounds obviously under the influence of something.
You think?
She claims they'd been drinking wine that night. I don't know what to believe out of her mouth. But again, I'm going to warn you, this is not easy to watch.
It's clear you really can't believe shit she says because during the interrogation, you could tell her rehearsed statement wasn't panning out the way she wanted it to while she was sitting in that chair. Like, when the investigators were asking her the questions they were asking her, you can tell the way they would word things, she had to try to come up with a snap type of answer, but she would think before she would say something. And when they were starting to frustrate her, which is the goal, by the way, when they were starting to frustrate her, she would react before anything. So you can't believe a goddamn thing that woman said.
If there's young kids in the room, probably want to get them out at this point.
I could have found
and if you don't want to see it, I can understand. You could turn down the volume, turn away for a few minutes. Because she rolled on it. Not for like 10 seconds, not for like 15, like 2 minutes of video. More than 2 minutes of video. Now, what you have to think about as you're watching this video is that this is just what she recorded. He was in there for hours. Hours, all night long. How much did he suffer? What was he thinking? How much was he fighting to try to get out of the suitcase? And what's going through his mind knowing that there's someone outside who could easily unzip the suitcase and let him out? So again, I'm going to play the video for you now. I've given you the warning. George Torres is inside this suitcase. Sarah Boone, the defendant, has the cell phone in her hand and is recording it and is talking/taunting him while he is begging and pleading for her to just unzip the suitcase. Let's watch.
How many times is man gonna say that? That's all.
Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me.
She drunk as hell.
you.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
How childish. How childish. How childish. Look, what? That's my name. Don't wear it out. It's so childish that my kids don't even say that to each other. And I'm talking about the babies. They don't say that to each other. That's how childish she is. They're only 13 and 14. Like,
I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. Sarah. Sarah.
this is sad.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real or handsome. Might want to get video for it extra. Because I got this.
Sarah.
Real or handsome.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you drink on me.
Sarah.
You.
Breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut the f*** up.
Sarah.
Shh.
Now that's just over 2 minutes of the video. That's just 2 minutes. But you can tell he's already in distress and he knows that something bad is happening here. This is not good. And she's laughing, she's taunting him as all this is going on. This is cruel. Now, there's a second video that she made. It's shorter, and it's recorded 11 minutes later, which means, okay,
Yeah,
so we watched just over 2 minutes
videos.
there, another 11 minutes inside the suitcase, and then she decides to record some more. And you'll notice in this one, he's not talking as much. Again, same warning. Let's take a look. Sarah.
I don't know if y'all noticed this, but the suitcase is now flipped over. She actually was torturing him inside of this suitcase. She was kicking it. She kept flipping him over and over. She was like doing the most in the worst way. But
and there you can see the suitcase was in a different position. She admits she flipped it on its side. I mean, she's not only taunting him, she's like flipping the suitcase around. What is this?
Trial? I want to see the trial.
What is this? Well, this trial's coming up this summer. You'll see it on Court TV. But in the meantime, there are a lot of questions that a lot of people have had since the beginning of this case back in 2020. It was, how do you get in the suitcase? But also, why did he die? How would he die? And what would that be like to be locked in a suitcase like that? We've got a special guest who's going to help us work through some of this. Joining us tonight in Columbia, South Carolina, retired medical examiner and forensic pathologist, Dr. Michelle Dupree is back with us. Dr. Dupree, great to see you tonight.
Thank you.
A lot of people are surprised that you would die locked in the suitcase. What is it that's going on inside there? And I guess most people like me assume that it's not airtight, that you would perhaps be able to breathe and be able to sustain yourself. He was in there for hours, I mean, overnight. So describe for us a little bit about what would happen.
I'm sure that when he chose to get in the suitcase, when he got in, he wasn't facing towards the zipper. Now the zipper's on this end. I'm using this as an example. Let's say if the zipper is on this side, I'm thinking he was facing this way. So basically his head's up here. So he can't reach down here to pull the zipper up. That's honestly what I think really happened. He trusted her to close the suitcase.
Happen to someone that is locked up and zipped into this suitcase?
Well, really, Vinny, it's more than a lack of air. It's called positional asphyxia. And because of the position that his body would be in that cramped, small space, your lungs and your chest cannot expand as they need to catch a deep breath. And so you actually die from asphyxiation or from suffocating because your lungs and your chest cannot expand. It's not uncommon when people are in positions that they're unable to move about freely. It happens really more than you would think.
So what is going, for a man who's in that position, like George was, at what point, how long would it take, do you think, for him to realize this is bad? This is going south. I'm starting to struggle here. And how long would that struggle last, do you think?
And that's going to vary on how anxious that person is. I would say 10, 15 minutes, you're going to become very distressed. It's going to become terrifying that you can't get out and you know that you can't breathe. You would be scared to death because you can't move, you cannot breathe and take a deep breath.
I am almost saying this is almost like, is it kind of like drowning, the psychological part of it, where you're there but you can't breathe. If you're underwater, you can't breathe, and then your mind starts racing and you get into that panic mode.
Benny, that's actually a very good analogy. Yes, I would imagine it would be something like that, or like being buried alive. It would be horrifying. It must just be terrifying to be in that position. So
let's look at how this all developed. She doesn't open the suitcase till the next morning. Would there be any way for them to tell at what point he could have been saved and at one point it was too late?
I think it would be they would be able to estimate the time of death at approximately how long he was in the suitcase before he died and about when he died. And so from that, you could then figure out, if he had been let out at a certain time, he would have survived. But they would have to do that based on a number of factors like the liquidity in his body, his temperature, and things like that.
And what sort of examination would you do for the autopsy in this case? And would there be anything you'd look for to perhaps ascertain anything that may have happened before he got into the suitcase? Because we're also trying to figure out how he got in there, whether it was voluntarily or if something else happened here.
Well, yes, you would certainly look for any signs of a struggle. Did he have any other injuries on his body, any defensive wounds? Had he been in a scuffle or a struggle before he got into the suitcase or was put into the suitcase? You would look for all sorts of things like that. You would also look at any type of information you would get from the autopsy itself.
Okay, so I just realized something. This video has to be old because at the bottom it was just talking about the synagogue shooting that happened here, and that happened several years ago. So this cannot be this can't be the video that I was hoping it was. So I'm going to get out of this, and we're going to see if a trial actually is really on here, because that's what I was looking for. Damn, this is slow when it's on here. Like, the trial was supposed to have happened okay, wait, we got a pre-hearing trial. Why is this shit moving so slow? Anytime now.
Alright, let's go ahead and call up Miss Moon's case.
State of Florida versus Sarah Moon, 2020 CR 2603. State of Florida.
If that's where I'm at the state.
Okay.
Frank Bankwoods.
Let's go ahead and swear Miss Moon in.
Please raise your right hand and swear in. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give
Yes.
Morning, ma'am. Tell me your name and your date of birth.
Born October 10th, 1977.
Alright, we're here for pre-trial conference today. Mr. Cacciatore, where do you stand in preparing to proceed forward to trial?
State's right here on.
Mr. Bankwoods, where do you stand in regards to preparing
I'm
for
sorry,
trial?
defense is not ready. We're requesting a continuance. We are having difficult time finding an expert who is willing to work for the JAC rates, and so I'm still. That's essentially
What
part of the
did
case. Basically, it's
I
never been,
tell y'all?
initiated
It's going to
before
be
by
a
any of the
pushback,
prior
a
attorneys that I'm
pushback,
aware
a
of.
pushback.
In broad terms, what's the nature, what's the
That
field?
is spouse defense. Okay. Statutorily, we have to give the state notice, sufficient time, and name of the expert, and the essential elements that they'll be testifying to.
Mr. Cacciatore, what's your position in regard to the defense request for continuance?
I may have no objection
So, Mr. Bankwitz, how deeply have you plumbed the depths of the pool of experts in this field to find out or find one who's willing to work for the JAC rate?
I've actually talked to three, and they don't have contracts with JAC and are not willing to work with JAC. And I've made some other inroads with.
They're not willing to work with her specifically because they know there's no possible way she should be able to win this case. If she's able to win this case, then I am Jesus Christ himself sitting here. Like, it would make absolutely, positively no sense to me if she would win this case. Like, I wouldn't work with her ass either. Like, this case is a lost cause for real.
Battered woman shelters, trying to get their psychologists, who'd be willing. The problem is willing to testify, basically. Okay.
And because of the concern about compensation rate for testimony?
Well, that's one of the things, and to be honest honest with you, this case has had so much notoriety that people don't want to be involved.
So, Mr. Beckwith, I'm certainly willing to give you additional time based on my understanding of the case. I understand why that would be a defense the defense would want to explore about potentially presenting. What I'm not sure about is whether the inability to find an expert forever delays the trial of the case.
I wouldn't expect it to be a forever delay, Judge. And you know me better than that.
Mr. Cacciatore, I just want to make sure everyone in the room understood that, I'll give reasonable amounts of time to prepare a defense. The defense is entitled to an adequate defense, but they're not necessarily entitled to the exact defense they would prefer to have if resources were unlimited. So, Mr. Cacciatore, remind me, where are we as far as lining up your various homicide cases for trial? I know we have some things set to go to trial in the June trial period.
Yes, we have both Mr. Purlaw and Mr. Sowell that for that. And as far as this trial period, we have Mr. Hall, potentially Mr. O'Flory as well. If I could ask the defense, because I think it would make a difference in the timing of the continuance of this case, does the defense intend to hire an expert to testify generally as to the precepts and the things that go along with battered spouse syndrome, or do they intend to hire an expert that will evaluate Mrs. Boone and want to comment on her directly? And the reason I ask that is because I think the case law is clear that if it's the latter thing, then the state is entitled to have her sit down with our own expert to be evaluated as well. So that would obviously take more time if that is going to be the path we're going to go.
Mr. Beckwith, are you in a position to distinguish?
Number two is definitely what we're looking at, Judge. Although number one would be incorporated in that as far as their general ability and their expertise in the area.
Would you agree that if in fact you retain an expert and they're going to opine specifically on Ms. Boone's state of mind at the time of the incident, that
Okay. I could already tell, and I've said this when we were watching the interrogation, I can tell she's going to use the battered woman syndrome type of ordeal, but yet they battered each other. It wasn't as if it was one-sided. And I'm a firm believer, you give what you get, and it irks my life that females feel like they could put their hands on a man and a man can't react. I'm sorry, but I don't believe in that. Treat someone how you want to be treated. If you don't want someone to put their damn hands on you, don't put your damn hands on someone else. Like, out of reflex, if somebody hit me, I'm hitting back. It's a reflex, period. So you can't expect a man not to be human.
Someone was detected at your front door.
You can't expect a man not to be human and react differently. Like, I don't know. I tell my sons to make certain if they were to have any trouble with a spouse, and if you feel yourself getting fired up, walk the hell away from her. That way there's no opportunity to be like, well, he spazzed on me first, he put his hands on me. No one to be able to say that about my boys, because I taught them that. Now, I also try to teach them self-control. So if someone if a female put her hands on them I told them to get away, but make sure you call your mama and your sister, baby. Understand me. But I knew they were going to try to go with that battered woman thing. Like, I knew it. I knew it. I kept saying it. Like, they're going to try to use some of the video and say, oh, well, you hear her speak about this. But you can't justify what had happened. If he cheated on her, okay, he cheated on her, but she is still breathing. When he said, I can't breathe, babe, she said, that's how I feel when you cheat on me. Those are two different things. He wasn't saying it figuratively. He was saying it flat out. This is what it is. So, it makes me mad. Isaiah, bring me 2 blue.
That opens the door for the state.
With the scissors.
All right, most definitely. So here's what I am, and Cash, let me ask you this. Let's say that turns out not to be an issue. We're not going to have 2 experts. How long would it otherwise take you to present your case? Just rough idea.
I would say 3 days.
And other than this potential defense, Mr. Bankwitz, and is that including jury selection, Mr. Catch?
No, about 3.5 days for jury selection.
All right. And Mr. Bankwitz, other than this potential defense, if the state picked a jury in 1 day, the state presented their case in 2.5 days, how long do you anticipate a defense presentation would be at this
I'd
point?
say at least 3 days.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'll grant the continuance. I'm thinking continuing out to the July 11th pretrial, July 24th trial period.
Oh my God.
How long is that trial period, Judge? I have a time certain death penalty case in Lake County starting the second week in August.
That's a 3-week trial period, so it'd be the week starting Monday, July 24th, Monday, July 31st, and then the last week of the trial period would be Monday, August 7th.
That's when I'm scheduled to start picking a jury.
Still need them.
in Lake County.
Well, let's do this. I want to set it for that date. That way you'll have a much better idea of what's actually happening on your death penalty cases in Lake County. I understand that those are they're priority cases, but I also know that they're the cases where if a problem comes up, no matter what a judge has said before, they're likely to allow the case to move because they don't want to try it twice.
Just to advise the court, this case had to be continued at the last minute because of one of the attorney's wives had basically had a stroke, and so it was the week before.
In Pittsburgh, they normally do not allow you to get more than 3 continuances, and I'm not 100% certain when it comes down to this, but they gotta be pushing at least 2 continuances. It gotta be at least 2. I do want to look more into the Florida law and see if they allow you to have more than 3. But yeah, I'm almost sure for Pennsylvania, you can only get up to 3.
We were scheduled to start in that case, but Judge Davis up there, now that has, I won't say resolved itself, but is in a better position. Judge Davis has advised all of us that we're going, quote, come hell or high water.
See, I try not to say things like that because I feel like I'm just tempting
Well,
fate.
that's just Lake County, Judge. What do you expect?
Having never worked there, it means nothing to me. So, I'll grant the change July 11th pre-trial, July 24th trial period, and let's go ahead and do this. While I'm giving July 11th as the date, let's go ahead and have the lawyers reach out to my judicial assistant, and just like we did this time, schedule a status separate, unique date for pretrial so that I have, y'all have my undivided attention when we talk about the case. I don't have 97 other lawyers tapping their fingers, waiting to get to me.
Sounds good, Judge.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Ms. Boone, we return to the Orange County Jail pending further order to court. And Mr. Banquet, you can electronically file the motion to continue,
Yes, sir, we will.
and the court minutes say it's granted. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Have a good day.
I'm sorry y'all hear cars and people and dishes and everything else in the background. I do have a normal life. But anyway, I did tell everybody I was also going live. So I don't know why all the noise. Now the cars don't know. But this entire household knows. Anyway, back to the situation at hand. I'm praying that they do not get another continuation for this damn case, because I've been sticking to my word when I said that I'm gonna follow this bitch, but this is starting to get ridiculous. Like, Jesus. I don't even know. I don't know. But hopefully we get somewhere at some time. So I'm expecting for me to be doing a trial update somewhere in September. I'm hoping y'all will know which way or the other. But Jesus. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this half-ass trial situation it was supposed to be. But yeah, I don't know. I really do not know. But if you enjoyed this all over the place, messed up as live, then please hit the dang on like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time I drop a new video. And yes, I do mean every time. Thank y'all for watching. Catch you in my next one.